In a serene forest, a still pond reflects the sky. At first glance it appears perfect, tranquil, beautiful and inviting. But beneath its glassy surface a serpent may slither, hidden from view, waiting for the unwary. The same applies to the human experience. Amid the warmth of connection and companionship, there can be unseen dangers, individuals whose intentions are shrouded in shadow. The teachings of Zen and Buddhist philosophy encourage us to see beyond appearances, to cultivate awareness not only of our own nature, but also of the energies and intentions that surround us. As the Buddha once said, "Be vigilant. Guard your mind against negative thoughts and intentions, for they will shape your reality. Evil, like a seed, grows where attention is lax. Recognizing it is not about judgment, but about safeguarding the path to enlightenment." The story that follows is a reflection on how to recognize the subtle signs of a malevolent presence, using Zen wisdom as a guide. As with all Zen teachings, the purpose is not to dwell in fear, but to foster clarity, compassion, and resilience. A young monk lived a simple life. His days were filled with meditation, tending the temple garden, and offering guidance to travelers who passed by. His practice was steady, his heart light, and his mind clear. But everything changed the day he met the stranger. The stranger appeared ordinary, well-spoken, polite, and eager to learn the ways of the temple. He spoke of his admiration for the monk's discipline and asked to stay for a time to learn. The monk, moved by compassion, welcomed him with open arms. Yet as days turned into weeks, the monk began to notice something, a subtle, almost imperceptible change in the atmosphere. It wasn't overt or dramatic, but like a slight disharmony in a beautiful melody. The birds, which once sang joyfully around the temple, seemed quieter. The plants in the garden, which had flourished, began to droop. The air felt heavier, though nothing seemed outwardly wrong. Zen teaches us to trust our intuition, which is often the first whisper of truth. As the Buddha said, the mind, when quieted, perceives what the eyes cannot see. The monk's unease was not paranoia, but the result of his cultivated awareness. Evil often cloaks itself in normalcy, but the awakened mind senses its subtle vibrations. At first, the stranger's conversations were pleasant, even flattering. He praised the monk's wisdom and humility, always careful to seem respectful. But gradually, his words began to shift. "I wonder," the stranger mused one evening, "if your teachings are truly understood by those who visit. Perhaps they are too simple for most minds." The monk, taken aback, replied, "Simplicity is the gateway to truth. Complexity often clouds the way." The stranger nodded, but his expression hinted at doubt. Over the following days, he planted more seeds of uncertainty, subtle critiques of the monk's methods, veiled comparisons to other teachers, and questions that seemed designed to unsettle rather than enlighten. The monk began to notice that these conversations left him feeling drained, his previously clear mind now clouded with self-doubt. Buddhist philosophy warns against the power of words when wielded with ill intent. As the Dhammapada states, "Speak only the truth. Words have the power to heal or to wound." Those with malevolent intentions often use language as a weapon, not through overt attack, but by sowing confusion and discord. The monk's growing unease was a sign that the stranger's presence was not aligned with the Dharma. The temple, once a sanctuary of peace, began to change. The other monks grew irritable, and small disagreements arose where there had been none. Tasks that were once done joyfully now felt burdensome. The stranger, always nearby, seemed unaffected by the growing tension. In fact, he often positioned himself as a mediator, offering solutions that subtly deepened the divisions. One day, a senior monk approached the young monk and said, "Something feels wrong here. It is as if a shadow has fallen over the temple." The young monk, now deeply troubled, realized that the stranger's presence coincided with this shift. Yet he hesitated to confront him directly, fearing that his suspicions might be unfounded. Zen wisdom reminds us that harmony is a reflection of shared intention. When one person harbors ill will, it spreads like ripples in a pond, disrupting the collective peace. The Buddha taught, evil is not always loud. It often works in silence through small unnoticed acts. Recognizing these disruptions requires mindfulness and courage. Determined to understand the truth, the young monk decided to observe the stranger more closely. He watched his interactions, his habits, and his responses to others. What he discovered unsettled him. The stranger often positioned himself at the center of conversations, subtly steering them to his advantage. He feigned humility but seemed to relish attention. He offered help but left tasks half done, creating more work for others. His laughter, though frequent, carried a hollow echo, and his eyes seemed to search not for connection but for opportunities. One evening, the young monk confronted him gently. Your presence here has brought many changes. Tell me, what is it you seek? The stranger's expression flickered just for a moment, but it was enough. In that fleeting instant, the mask slipped, and the monk saw the shadow beneath. Evil often hides behind charm and pretense. But as Zen teaches, the truth cannot be concealed forever. A lie has no legs, it trembles before the light of awareness. The monk's careful observation revealed the stranger's true nature, affirming the power of mindfulness in uncovering deception. The next morning, the young monk gathered the temple community and shared his concerns. He spoke not with anger but with compassion, explaining what he had observed and how it had affected the harmony of their home. The other monks, though initially hesitant, began to share their own experiences. Together they realized that the stranger's presence had indeed sown discord. When confronted by the community, the stranger denied any wrongdoing, but his words lacked the conviction they once held. Seeing the unity and clarity of the monks, he grew agitated and eventually left the temple. In the days that followed, the temple's harmony returned. The birds sang again, the garden flourished, and the monks found renewed joy in their practice. The young monk, reflecting on the experience, offered a final teaching. Evil does not announce itself with thunder and lightning. It creeps in through cracks, disguised as a friend, a helper, or even a teacher. But with mindfulness, compassion, and courage, we can see it for what it is and let it pass like a shadow in the light. Zen and Buddhist teachings emphasize that the path to enlightenment is not free of challenges. Recognizing and addressing malevolence is not about judgment or punishment, but about restoring balance. The Buddha's words resonate here. Hatred does not cease by hatred, but by love. This is an eternal truth. The monk's collective clarity and compassion ultimately dispelled the shadow without creating new harm. The teachings woven into this story invite us to reflect on the nature of malevolence, the subtlety of its presence, and the wisdom required to confront it. Zen and Buddhist philosophy remind us that recognizing evil is not about casting judgment or labeling others, but about understanding how intentions and actions align or misalign with the Dharma, the universal truth of harmony and compassion. Evil is rarely the dramatic, overt force that stories and myths often portray. In life, it tends to operate quietly, slipping into spaces left unguarded. This subtlety is what makes it dangerous, as it can go unnoticed until its effects become undeniable. In the story, the stranger didn't arrive with a sinister proclamation. He entered with politeness, charm, and apparent goodwill. This is a reminder of the Buddhist teaching that appearances can deceive. The Buddha said, "What is hidden is often more powerful than what is revealed. Evil works like water, seeping through cracks. It finds its way into the smallest openings and over time can erode even the strongest foundation. Through awareness, compassion, and courage, we can dispel shadows without fear. As the Buddha taught, just as the dawn banishes the darkness of night, so does wisdom banish the darkness of ignorance. When we walk the path with clarity and love, no shadow can linger for long. The world then becomes not a place of fear, but a garden where harmony can grow, even amid challenges."